Building a better Bay Area. Moving forward, finding solutions. This is ABC7 News.
We are dedicating today's Getting Answers to ABC7's Season of Giving, a month-long effort to give back and shine a light on people and organizations in need of help across the Bay Area. Good afternoon. Thank ABC7 is proud to partner with United Way Bay Area for the Season of Giving campaign. We're building a better Bay Area by joining together to support and uplift our neighbors in need. Joining us today are Christopher Barini, Chief Advancement Officer at United Way Bay Area, and Carolina Martin, the Vice President of Development. Christopher, Carolina, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having us. We're thrilled to be here.
Yeah, to talk about all that United Way Bay Area does, which is so much. Look, everybody has heard of United Way Bay Area, and I think when people think of you and, you know, they don't know the difference between that and Red Cross. Red Cross is disaster relief, immediate need. You guys are focused on systemic change and supporting and sustaining the communities. Tell us what you guys do.
Yeah, so it's great that you talk about building a better Bay Area, because we talk about that all the time, actually, and we're really focused on being an organization that dismantles the root causes of poverty and builds more equitable pathways for prosperity throughout the Bay Area for all of our neighbors. And we do that by bringing together and mobilizing the Bay Area across sectors, so people from all different walks of life, all different sectors. And our vision for all that work is really to create an equitable Bay Area where everyone has the opportunities and resources to thrive.
Can we just get a snapshot on where we're at in the Bay Area, right? We have so much wealth creation here, yet at the same time, what are you seeing in terms of the poverty picture and the need?
Well, one of the things we touch on a lot, there's something called the Real Cost Measure, which is produced by United Ways of California in partnership with all of the United Ways in the state. And we look at, especially in the Bay Area, in many places in the Bay Area, it can cost an income of over $110,000 a year just to make ends meet, just to hit your basic needs. And that really is, if you're not able to do that, you're really stretched and you're basically living in poverty. And so it's a very common situation. Many people, roughly half folks in the Bay Area, are not meeting those basic needs.
Wow.
So we've got a lot of folks to serve. We estimate over 600,000 people who need services like we provide to address those things.
I imagine that number has only gone up during the pandemic. You've tracked that?
Yeah, and I think what's great is we have been over a century in serving communities, and it's an honor to serve our communities and make better neighborhoods, better communities. And, you know, we served over 500,000 last year, correct, Christopher?
That's right, yeah. And, you know, it's been an interesting time, because with that centennial year, 100 years of service to the Bay Area, and the last couple years, you know, living through a pandemic, it's been an incredible time to be doing this work, an important time to be doing this work, and the need has only gotten more significant as people have struggled with changes in jobs and other, you know, disasters. The wildfires are another factor.
And I know you bring different groups together, from working with companies to groups, but drill down on exactly the different ways in which you support people and try to break people out of that cycle of poverty.
Yeah, so there's a couple specific things we do. First of all, it's meeting basic needs, so making sure people have food, have shelter. Last year that we have measurement for, we distributed about 4 million pounds of food.
Wow.
Through our partnerships and across the region, 150 shelter nights. So those are the kind of basic needs we're talking about, just stabilizing folks so that they can look at their resources and figure out what else they need.
Yeah.
Maybe, Carolina, you want to say a little bit about our financial stability work?
Yes, I mean, one of the examples is we partner with Spark Point Centers, and so these are centers that are either at community colleges or for institutions or at nonprofits. And basically, you can come to these Spark Point Centers and learn about, how do I get financial coaching, how do I get a career path, how do I get those two to make sure that I'm onto a better career? And so financial stability is really critical. As we know, if we have financial stability, then we have, you know, our housing taken care of.
Absolutely. So you're giving people the tools, because there's an education component as well.
Yeah, and we find that a lot of folks who are living in poverty or struggling to make ends meet, as we often prefer to say, you know, they're financial magicians. They're doing incredible work to balance their budgets, to, you know, maybe go to a community college to improve their situation and get a better job in the future. Yeah. And those folks are really struggling, and they just need some support. They just need tools. So these centers help to provide tools like that.
And how many of those Spark Point centers do you have, and how can people join? Is it free?
Great question. Yes, they're totally free, and we just recently, I think last week, opened our 23rd SparkPoint Center, so they can just go to our website and you can see where they are. But one good story that just happened recently, this individual that had made not the best choices since he was 15 and had been incarcerated and out of incarceration. He recently just went to a SparkPoint Center, learned how to make a budget, learned how to do his tax reports, and now he's on to a better future. And that's what we're here to do.
That is fantastic. Love hearing those stories. Another great resource that you have is 211. Talk about what that helpline is.
Yeah, so 211 is kind of a first line of defense or first line of information for people who are struggling in any way. So if anybody's having any kind of issue, they might need some kind of social service or support, they can call 211 and be directed by those folks to some of our nonprofit partners, really to any nonprofits in the area who are relevant to the need that they face, whether it's food insecurity, whether they need access to affordable or subsidized daycare, whether they're experiencing some kind of personal crisis, mental health crisis. We can help refer people to services that we don't necessarily ourselves provide in all cases, but we also then refer to services that we provide, if that makes sense. And I think in our last year measured, we reached over 50,000 people across the Bay Area through either phone calls or text messages at 211.
And are there languages other than English offered when people call 211?
Yeah, I don't actually have the list of languages handy, but I think one of the important services that we also provide is free tax help, and that's provided in Vietnamese, in Mandarin, in English, and Spanish, as you might expect.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, back to the 211, it's 7 days a week, 24 hours, so it's always there for people to just call 211. So it's really important to know, and there are multiple languages.
Look, we know that the pandemic has increased the need for this type of support, right? Because so many people are in need. Has it changed the way you do business or the way you've had to adapt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just in terms of the way we work, right, like a lot of places, most of our staff is virtual. We're just beginning now to come back into the offices. But in terms of the way, for example, with the free tax help services that we provide, helping people access $50 million in the last year we measured in refunds or tax credits, that work over the last couple of years largely had to be done virtually, which is a really kind of complicated thing to do when touching your tax returns or touching your finances is such a kind of intimate thing. But we were able to do that through some partnerships, to do that virtually where appropriate. Now we're finally being able to do that free tax help work. And we're recruiting for volunteers. So we're happy to hear from people if they'd like to volunteer at UWBA.org.
So you don't have to donate just with money. There are many different ways to help?
Absolutely.
Yes, we're looking for volunteers, people to attend our events. Another example is some of our corporate partners during this adaptive time realize that they can actually get on Zoom and coach youth how to get your resume ready, how to do an interview. So there is a lot of ways to volunteer and also donate and just be supportive of our communities, because we are in communities in the Bay Area.
I see. All right, but if people do want to donate money, I do understand you're doing a year-end campaign, right?
Yeah, like a lot of organizations, we are driving to the end of the calendar year and raising as much resources as we can to support the work that we've talked about. And that is, you can come to our website and specifically to UWBA.org/Bay, which will take you right to the place where we're talking about the work and asking for specific support.
You wanted to say something, Carolina?
Well, I'm just excited to be here because, I think United Way Bay Area is just trying to make our community stronger. So if people want to volunteer and see how to get engaged, just go to that website and join us.
Well, that is a great place to end our conversation. Thank you so much. Great info, great work. Christopher Barini and Carolina Martin, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Happy holidays.
You too.
All right, don't go away, because just ahead, Getting Answers, Season of Giving, will be back. The power of giving can change lives, making the Bay Area a better place for all of us. We'll learn about the Silicon Valley Community Foundation's work to advance equity and opportunity in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties.